Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom. His brother Raya want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, Bahashema Mashiach, Malak Yahushua. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that go out there and labor on the highways and byways, making their body a living sacrifice. In the rain, the tumults, the demons, the uprisings, the uproars, they're out there standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that are not out there as of yet, but they're building themselves up, reading, praying, fasting, doing everything they can do to put themselves in a position to shake the hand, to wake up the hopeful elect. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty akwaf in this thing that sincerely reverence their husbands, being teachers of good things to the children at home, being quiet, shamefaced, submissive, loving, steadfast, cooking someone clean, and doing all of the righteous acts for our foremothers on fire for the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty akwaf that are not married as of yet, but getting themselves built up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty children in this thing, zealous of good works, reading, praying, and fasting, doing everything they could do to magnify the Most High and his beloved son Yahushua. And last but not least, another strong shalom to the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad, reading, praying, and fasting, magnifying the Most High and his beloved son Yahushua in the last days. Right, this is going to be an in-depth Q&A through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua for brothers and sisters and children that have any sincere questions. We're going to dive into it, not out of our own understanding, but out of the scriptures of the Most High. I'm about to share my screen. Right, give me a bear with me. I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna dive straight into it. Right, we're gonna dive straight into it. Right, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Mark. And Most High willing, man, brothers are watching. It's a lot of war on the earth. It's a lot of bloodshed on the earth, man. Bombs are dropping. People are giving up the ghost in the last days, man. People falling out the truth. So if it's any time to be fervent, if it's any time to be serious, any time to put your foot right on that pedal and that gas to turn up, now is the time, man. Now is not the time to be falling away in the last days, getting lackadaisical, right? Getting lukewarm, forgetting who you're serving, letting the gods of this world, right, corrupt your mind. Let me get this quick precept. This is the mighty book, right, of Matthew. So like in Mark, right, chapter 12. And I want to start. Let me get this quick precept. Matter of fact, instead of Mark, let me get this. Let me get Matthew 13. This is Matthew chapter 13. And I want to start at verse. So thing is fire. I want to start at verse 24. Right? It says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. Right? So in the last days, you have to sow in righteousness, man. That's fasting, that's good works, that's being on fire, that's reading, that's being diligent. Right? All of these things that you're doing as a workman in the vineyard is going to count in the day of harvest. All you brothers that are hiding behind bushes, hiding in the mist, right, of the plant to the trees of the vineyard, all you men that are idle, not doing anything, all you men that are making excuses, those men aren't going to receive a reward. The Lord said that soweth good seed in the field. The field is the world. The good seed is the truth, the Son of Man, in these scriptures, in the works. So you have to sow in righteousness in the last days, man. Right? Now I'm going to dive and get the first question through the spirit. Right? HBK lit, Shalom, Israel, Karlo, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Barakatah. All right, all praise to the Most High. It says, Shalom, King, whether elect or mortal bodies have access to Jacob's ladder, to the third heaven, where the Most High dwells. That's an excellent question. Let's find out. Let's go to the mighty book of Exodus. Let's go to Exodus chapter 33 and verse number 20. This is Exodus chapter 33 and verse 20. It says, I'm going to start at 19. It says, and he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee. So the Most High is saying through the Spirit, he's going to reveal himself to Moses. Let's see how the Most High reveals himself. Even to this very day, the Most High reveals himself through his son, through dreams, through angels that are on earth. The Lord said, be not ignorant, paraphrasing greatly, to not entertain strangers. So you want to entertain strangers because you may unaware have entertained an angel. So the Most High reveals himself through the actions of war. The Most High reveals himself through tornadoes, right? Volcanoes, right? All type of windstorms. See, the Most High reveals himself by his works. It says, and he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. And he said, thou canst not see my face. Now hold on. This is talking about Moses. Now hold on. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Numbers. See, we're not like Moses. I'm not like Moses. You're not like Moses. Moses is different. He's the elect. But let me get this quick precept. This is the book of Numbers, right? Chapter 12. And I'm going to start at verse, 3. Now the man Moses was very meek above all men which were upon the face of the earth. So he's the most meekest man that was upon the face of the earth, right? That's not all men. Let me jump down, right, to verse number 6. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and I will speak unto him in a dream. And we're the prophets, humbly speaking. We're the men of the Lord. And we know that, and we speak that with confidence, right, through the revelations and dreams the Most High showed us. Are the same things he showed Ezekiel, the same things he showed Jeremiah, same things he showed Isaiah. But we're not like Moses. It says, my servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. I mean, the other prophets, they get to see the Lord through visions and dreams, but not like Moses. See, Moses is different in all mine house. With him, I will speak mouth to mouth. So this is about the closest man has gotten to the Lord, right, in the scriptures, other than Yahushua HaMashiach the righteous. Even apparently, and not in dark speeches. In the similitudes of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore, then, were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? See, Moses is different more than anybody. So let's see how the Lord revealed himself. Verse 20, in the book of Exodus, chapter 33 and verse 20. And he said, thou canst not see my face. So if he's different than all men and gets a greater understanding of the Lord to see him than all men, then he can't even see his face. For there can no man see me and live. That's what the Lord said, man. Can't nobody see the Lord and live. See, the Most High is only known through his son, Yahushua. The Lord dwelleth in thick darkness. So from the very beginning in Genesis, not to get too deep, but there was darkness upon the face of the earth. Let me get there real fast. Who was dwelling in that darkness? The Most High. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 6, chapter 1 and verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So from the time of the very foundation of the earth, it was pitch black. It was without form, and the Spirit of God was there dwelling in darkness. And you couldn't see it. See, light is only made manifest for men. Let me get this quick precept. I believe that's 2 Chronicles 6. It's 2 Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 1. Then saith Solomon, the Lord have said that he would dwell in the thick darkness. Now, I mean, you could take that literal, but that's more spiritual than anything because you can't see the Lord. The Lord is in here right now during my life through the hand of the holy angels, recording everything that's going on. He's in every part of your house. He's in the attic. The Spirit of the Lord covereth the earth. So the Lord is not sitting on a chair and he just never moves like an idol. No, the Spirit of the Lord is everywhere. Let me get this quick precept and I'm going to go back to that. Let's go to the mighty book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 1. For thy incorruptible spirit is in all things. So it's in the grass. It's even in the heathen, right? To direct them. Like the Lord said, the hand of the Lord is in the king's hand. Paraphrasing greatly. And he's going to do with it whatsoever he will. So he put the Spirit on these heathen to push the button. He put the Spirit on these heathen to withdraw themselves from war, right? Remember in Artaxerxes, he put the Spirit on him to have a mild spirit toward Esther. that he may waive the petition to kill her if she came before the king unannounced. So the Lord's spirit is upon all things in everything. But see, Moses said, look, you're not going to be able to see me. Verse 21, and the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cliff of the rock, and I will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. And I will take away mine hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. And his back parts, that's not literal, meaning you're going to see the Lord in part. That's what it means, his back part. I don't mean you saw the back of the Lord. You could count all his muscles. You can see the torso. You can see how broad his shoulders was. It's not literal. He appeared before him in a chariot. And that chariot was the glory of the Lord, but it was in part. So you're not going to be able to see the Most High. Even in visions, I'm going to get one more real fast in the book of Revelation chapter 4. Matter of fact, I want to get two. Right, let me get the book of John. Let's get the mighty book of John, right? Chapter 5. It's the mighty book of John, chapter 5. Right, and I want to start at verse 37. And the Father himself, which have seen me, have borne witness of me. Ye have neither heard his voice at any time. So when you see the scriptures, well done, this is my son, whom I am well pleased, right? That's not the Most High speaking. That's the hand of the angel speaking. When the Lord said, let me get this quick precept in the book of John, chapter 12. So nobody heard the voice of the Lord. Nobody is going to see the Lord. The Most High is never going to be seen by man in the flesh, in the kingdom, or outside. It's not written. Now, if that comes to pass, which is not written, you can't add it to the words. So I can't speak but only in part of what's going to be in the kingdom. But what's written is that no man has ever seen the Lord or will see the Lord. It's not in there. It's saying that man is not going to see the Lord. This is the book of John, chapter 12, right? In verse 29, right? I'm going to start at 28. Father, glorify thy name. Then came a voice from heaven saying, you would think that's the Most High. I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. The people, therefore, that stood by heard it and said that it thundereth. Others said an angel spake to him. So they already knew it's either thundering, it's an angel speaking. These men were on a level they could perceive that's not the Most High. We know we're not going to be blessed with the Most High's voice. The Lord's voice is like thunder. That's in Job chapter 37. I'm going to get one more. This is Job chapter 37 and verse 1. At this also my heart trembleth and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. Let's see what it's likening to. He directeth it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. So his voice is like what? It's likened unto lightning. After it, a voice roareth. So when you hear the Lord, it's like thunder. Like you're not going to be able to perceive it, nor hear it, nor understand. That's how strong it is. He thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them when his voice is heard. It's not literal. That don't mean literally you finally get to hear the voice of the Lord, and then all hell start breaking loose, man. We're not worthy to hear the voice of the Lord, right? And only in part are certain angels appearing before you. Have the ark of the testimony that is in heaven, right? But we're going to rest right there before we turn into a breakdown. Next question. Shalom, King. Since there are billions of Jakes, will only an elite level of Israelites live in Jerusalem, while others will settle in order regions to colonize the nation? All right, that's a beautiful question. Let's go to the mighty book of Psalms. Let's go to Psalm. It's the mighty book of Psalms, chapter 2, and verse number 8. The Lord said, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So right now, we only know, I can't even speak, 1% of the earth. A lot of people think, well, the earth is already mapped out. Everybody knows about the earth. Don't let Esau lie to you. Don't let Esau tell you that every mountain, every hill, every crevice, don't let these scientists, these people in these museums, don't let these architects, don't let all of these men of the earth tell you, Google Maps, that the whole earth has been mapped out, because it hasn't been. No man, as far as I know, the different jewels and metals and minerals and different things that Lord said the kingdom of heaven is going to be built up with, where are those at? Where's crystal plast? We can't even pronounce that. Where is that in the earth, man? See, all we know about is diamond, gold, silver, maybe a little brass here and there, some iron. But we don't have the jewels, maybe some sardius here and there, whatever the case may be. But we're not seeing that things that are hid in the earth that are going to be revealed to the elect. So the Lord said he's going to give the uttermost parts of the earth to the elect, right? Let me get this quick precept. The Lord speaks about dwellings in the kingdom. It's the book of 2nd Esdras 2, right? And I'm going to start at verse number 10. Thus saith the Lord unto Ezra, tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of heaven, so like a kingdom of Jerusalem, which I would have given unto Israel. Their glory also will I take unto me, and give these the everlasting tabernacle. So the Lord said he's going to give them, it says tabernacles with an S. For brothers that may not know what the word tabernacle means, let's look it up. It says a fixed or movable habitation, typically light construction, right? It says a meeting place of worship, a cabin, right? So if you didn't know, it's a place where you dwell. So the Lord said he's going to give you the everlasting tabernacles with an S. So there are going to be many dwelling places that you can dwell at in the kingdom. The Lord also spoke in the book of, let me get this quick precept, in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 8. All right. Let's get the mighty book of 2nd Esdras. The 7th chapter, that's what I want. It's 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, and I want to start at verse 51. I'm going to start at, this whole thing is far, but I'm going to start at 50. It says, and that their promise is an everlasting hope. So this is the promises given to Israel. Whereas ourselves being most wicked are made in vain. And that there are laid up for us dwellings of safety. So there are going to be many dwellings of safety. Everybody's not going to live in Jerusalem. That would be impossible for all of Israel to fit and get jammed up in there. And everybody, the Lord's going to have the elect, the men of God, they're going to govern the entire earth. It will be foolish, not that anybody's thinking this, but it would be foolish to let the heathen be afar off, because we already know when they're alone, they're going to go off. They could be serving other gods. They could be doing bestiality. They could be doing fornication. They could be lusting. They could be building a shrine. They could be getting drunk. God knows what they would do if they're left alone. So all the places of the earth are going to have to be governed by the men of God, which are officers, right? Which are judges, which are princes. These men are going to have to govern and get the nation in order. So there are many dwellings that we're going to have, right? We're going to have islands, the uttermost parts of the islands, man. See, we haven't mapped out all of the islands. I looked it up a long time ago. There were hundreds of thousands of islands. Now, this is just what they're telling us. There is no exact, universal, agreed upon number of islands in the world due to various definitions of what constitutes an island. However, estimates suggest there are over 670,000 to over 900,000 islands. This is what he's saying, man. Now, he doesn't know anything. He's not the Most High. If he's telling you there's a million islands, there may be a billion islands. And those islands that have fruit on them that never no man touched. See, you want land that's a virgin, meaning man didn't plow it in, corrupt it with sowing diverse seeds, right? There isn't any feces dug up, scoop it on top. There isn't any blood shed, defiled the land. You want a land that's pure. And that land that's pure could be given to you, man. So the Lord said, we're going to inhabit the uttermost parts of the earth, right? And again, that's just what he's saying. And there's more than islands. Like, again, there are parts of Asia that have never been inhabited. Has all Asia been discovered? It says, while Asia has been geographically mapped and inhabited for thousands of years, it is not fully discovered. Right, I went into this on a cold cut. I forgot the name of it. But nevertheless, Asia has not been fully inhabited. So if they've been mapping it out and looking at it, they said for what? For thousands of years they've been in Asia. So they say, right? They've been in Asia hundreds of years and still have not mapped out all of it. Because you have Amazons, you have different things that are vast beyond our comprehension, one, and two, that are dangerous that man can't even go through. You can't even tread and track through certain Amazons. They got movies like the what is that called? Jurassic Park, man. You got movies like Blood Diamond. They're in the woods, man. They're all out in the Amazons. So I mean, when you're looking at it, we're gonna have many dwellings, right? Let me get one more through the spirit, man. So dwellings is going to be important, and we're going to have many dwellings in the kingdom. Let's go to the mighty book of Luke. All right, let's get the classic. This is Luke chapter 19, and I want to start at verse number 17. It says, and he said unto him, well, thou art good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, thou have thou authority over 10 cities. Now again, these are the men that took the talent to the Lord and flipped it, for lack of better terms, and then righteousness with it. The Lord gave them this. They applied it and brought forth more fruit with the spirit of the Most High. Those men's reward are going to be 10 cities. And we know that 10 is not a physical number. These aren't physical numbers. They're going to be an innumerable amount of cities and an innumerable amount of lands, right? So again, this isn't the ancient world. We have to split up the land by lot, cast lots like we did in the time, right, of Joshua. Let's go to the next question. All praise to the Most High. Shalom, shalom, everybody getting on. All praise to the Most High. Right, shalom, King. Question. Genesis 4:17. Cain had Enoch, so the mark the Most High put on Cain, wouldn't it pass down to all his seed? Meaning the lack of melanin, if I'm perceived this right. Right, let's go to it. Let's go to the mighty book of Genesis chapter 4. And let's start at verse 17. Right? Now I'm going to start at, this whole thing is fire. I'm going to start at 14. It says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And that's a cut, man. For all these men that love heathens, that's a cut. Because the Lord just said through the Spirit, you know, he's done away with them. If thou wouldest do of well, let me get that real fast. Verse 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted, but that which is crooked cannot be made straight. So he couldn't do well. But nevertheless, his judgment is to be hid from the Lord's face. And he even recognizes this. It says, behold, thou art driven be out this day from the face of the earth, from all mankind. That's what this is saying, the face of the earth. That's why he dwells in mountains and clefts and valleys. That's really his true habitation. And from thy face shall I be hid, meaning the miracles, the mercy, the understanding, the prophecy, the wisdom, and the knowledge. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And that's exactly what he is. He's a fugitive and he's a vagabond. He's always traveling, and he is yet to account and pay for the murder which he have done. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me, because he know that he was a wanted man. It says, and the Lord said unto him, therefore, Whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. Because the revenger of blood has to do the killing in the next of kin. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. So the Lord marked this man before all mankind, that if you see this man, you cannot kill him, because the rightful man has to rise up for judgment. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Genesis. You have to. Let's go to Genesis chapter 9 and verse 6. It says, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. So he has to die the same way he killed him. He has to. He has to be slain. It's only the law. It's only justice. So that man can't be mauled by wild beasts. He can't be his descendant. He can't be wiped out, right? That's why he's still on the earth. You have to appear before the judges. For in the image of God made he man. That's why in Obadiah, it said that judges are going to have to come up upon the mount of Esau and judge him. Those judges are the Israelites, the men of God, the elect. They're going to come upon the mount and they're going to judge him, meaning bring forth his crimes, his atrocities, his murders, all his wickedness before the Lord and the holy angels. And then he's going to be put to death. He's going to be wiped out. Right, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 21. Right, and it's even telling you when you read this, I'm not going to read this whole thing. I did a breakdown, for brothers and sisters that want to check it out. The bloody Obadiah, the bloody truth. I believe I named it that on the Cold Cuts channel. And the house of Jacob should be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. Right, we're going to devour them. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken. You can't get around that. The Lord's going to utterly wipe them out. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau. Now the mount of Esau is his land. They of the south is Judah. So we're going to come up upon his mount. That's what this is saying. Let me see if I can get this in another translation. Let me see what the GNT say. Verse 19, people from the southern Judah will occupy Edom. So who gonna really have that strong fist to come up on that land for judgment? Judah. Now we know that, Cain killed Abel. We know that Abel isn't necessarily a Judite, right? You have the sons of God. You have the children of men. You have the serpent seed during the time of Genesis. But through the spirit, the strongest lineage that's coming out of Jacob is Judah. So they're going to have that honor. And Judah is God known, the book of Psalms 76 and 1. So the Lord said, people from the southern Judah will occupy Edom. Those from the western foothills will capture Philistia. Israelites will possess the territory of Ephraim and Samaria. The people of Benjamin will take Gilead. The army of exiles from northern Israel will return. So it's going into his demise, how land is going to be split, how things are going to be conquered. Now, when you jump down to verse number 21, because he ain't just going to get wiped out. And now there's no order. The Lord said, let all things be done in decency and in order. Verse 21, and Savior shall come upon, right, Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord. So the Lord is going to wipe him out. And again, you have the revengers of blood. That's a whole breakdown in itself. Could check out the Cold Cuts channel. The brothers are unaware of that going into the law. All right. It says, and also speaking of Enoch, this is the same the same one from Cain's seed that the Most High took up into heaven. No, you have two Enochs. You have an Enoch on the right-hand side in the 5th chapter. You have an Enoch on the left-hand side in the 4th chapter. Let's go to the book of Genesis. Chapter 4 and verse 18. And unto Enoch was born Arad, and Arad begat Methuselah, Methuselah begat Methuselah, and Methuselah begat Lamech. Now Enoch means dedicated. So you have one that's dedicated on the left-hand side to evilness, crime, and iniquity, and devilish, wicked devices. You have one that is dedicated on the right side. Let me get this real fast. So Enoch, right, was dedicated unto his God on the left-hand side, because Enoch's name means dedicated, and Cain dedicated him with a city rather in his name, which is dedicated to his God. Let's read that real fast. It says, I'm gonna start at 17. And Cain to his wife, they laid down, and she conceived and bare Enoch, right, on the left-hand side. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. So he dedicated this city. This city was dedicated. Before his son even really came on the scene, he was building up this city. So who is it dedicated to? Surely not the Most High, if by his face he's going to be hid, if he's a fugitive and a vagabond. So this city is dedicated unto Satan. It's dedicated unto the devil, to evil, to wickedness. That's the same as Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the same as America. It's the same as Europe, the bottomless pit. It's the same as all these other kingdoms. They dedicated on the left-hand side. And then you have Enoch, again, that's dedicated to righteousness on the right-hand side in Genesis chapter 5, right? In verse number 21. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked right with God. After he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. So he got beamed up in the chariot. Said the Lord took him in verse 24. So you have two separate Enochs. Right? And we're going to go to the next question. And it reads, Shalom, King. Question. Can you break down the fifth veil, Revelation 16 and 10? Okay, let's go to it. If I break this down a little fast, forgive me, because I did a whole breakdown on it. Me and other brothers as well. It's on the Cold Cuts channel. We did the whole 16 chapter. So I'm gonna kind of run through this real fast. And if you want any more clarification, check that breakdown out. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 16, and verse number 10. And the fifth angel poured out his veil. Now, a veil represents the final judgments of the Most High in the end days, blowing the trumpets and pouring out the veils. You're pouring out judgment, destruction, and vengeance. It says, and the fifth angel poured out his veil upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gashed their tongues for pain. Now, what's going on during the fifth veil? What's going on during the fifth trumpet? Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 9 and verse 1. It explains it so. Let's go to Revelation chapter 9 and verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded. So sounding is blowing a trumpet, pouring out a vial. Those are synonymous with the same judgments and the same season and time. And the fifth angel sounded. And I saw a star fall from heaven. So the star represents what? It represents missiles, right? Weapons of mass destruction, ICBM missiles, thermonuclear war that's falling down, right, from heaven unto earth. And to him was given a key of the bottomless pit. And the bottomless pit is a landmass that represents Europe, right? It represents the white man, his so-called beginning of where he's coming out of. All these European nations, they're coming out of Europe. And it's bottomless of evil, wickedness, lies, fornication, devilish sorcery, witchcraft, right? On so many levels, it's bottomless, man, right? So it's coming out of the bottomless pit. So again, it says, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto earth, meaning the missile was being shot, a vast missile. And to him was given the key, right, to the bottomless pit. Right? So the Lord, through the hand of the angels, are unlocking things, opening up this pit. Now, this pit was locked until the Lord give the key to the bottomless pit and open it up. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air was darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. and there came out of the smoke locusts. So locust represents an army. It represents bands. So out of being hit and it being unlocked, it's a retaliation, right? It's really going into NATO, the EU, right? Let me get this real fast. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Judith chapter 2. This is Judith chapter 2 in verse 20. A great multitude also of sun-dry countries came with them like locusts and like the sand of the earth, for the multitude was without number. So an army and multitudes are likened unto what? They're likened unto what? Locusts. Locusts are extremely powerful when they come in bands. You can't see. They take over your crops. They took over your all of your crops and vegetation. Let me see if I can get this real fast. It's really thousands of them. Let me see. Look at this, man. He could wave that stick all he want. That ain't gonna help him. Them things will destroy you, man. It's really a judgment when you see locusts. Because what do locusts do? They eat up your it's like your crops and your vegetation. So that's a judgment. So if they're coming upon you, taking all of the wealth and the things that bring you money, things that feed you, take care of you, when the Most High blesses the land by the water and the increase, and the locust is the judgment. The Lord called him the devourer. Let me get that real fast. I believe that's in Malachi. Let me get this quick precept. So I can bear with me. Verse 11. It says, I'm going to start at 10. It says, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. Right? Bring all of the tithes into the storehouse, all of the food, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I would not open to you the windows of heaven, talking about the rain, and pour you out a blessing. The rain is a blessing to what? Your land. That there shall not be room enough to receive it. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes. So the locust is known as a devourer, man. He takes up all your crops. He takes up all of the things that the Lord blessed you with. So if this land, is likened to a virgin, flourishing, likened unto wealth, money, the Lord's going to put a devourer on this land that's going to pluck and take everything from it. And again, that's likened to an army, likened to missiles, likened to destruction. Right? So those locusts, right? I'm going to go back to Revelation chapter, where we at? 9:3. And there came out of the smoke locusts, that's an army, upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as scorpions of the earth had power. What do scorpions do? They sting you, right, with their tail, right? And they stung you and they put you in a blurred like vision and mentality. Now, scorpions can kill you, but predominantly they don't kill you. They give you blurred vision and speech. For scorpions, sting effects. Scorpion stings typically use immediate tense pain, tingling, numbness, and swelling at the site, usually lasting 24 to 72 hours. See, I mean, you could survive that. So these missiles, when they coming down and this war is going on, it's not the big devourer that's going to I get there's no bomb that's just, war is war. So these missiles are likened unto scorpions. They're going to sting. They're going to take out power grids. They're going to take down buildings. They're going to take down hospitals, right? It says, while most mild, severe cases, especially from bark scorpions, can trigger, right, neurotic, toxic effects like muscle twitching, breathing difficulty, drooling, and rapid, right, evolving eye movement. So it jam you up. It jack you down, man. Jam you up, man. All hell start breaking loose. When all these missiles start coming, and the effects that it's going to cause the men, you're going to cough yourself to death. You're going to get all type of smoke poisoning. You know, we could describe this all day. All hell is going to be breaking loose. So the Lord said in the 10th verse in Revelation 16 and 10, and the fifth angel poured out his veil. So we know that during this time, this is unlocking the key of the bottomless pit, and a great star is falling down. It says, upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness. Right, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Revelation chapter 17. And I'm going to start at verse number 3. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast. Right, so this woman is America. The scarlet colored beasts are the kingdoms, right, that were before that America is now having a preeminence over. Where every kingdom had their time. You had the time of the Romans, you had the time of the Greek Empire. Right? You had all these kingdoms that had their seasons, that had their time. And America is now ruling over the European empires, sitting upon them. Now that's on one fold, she's sitting, and that's her throne. Another fold, you got America that sits high and lofty up, right, inhabiting all the kingdoms of the earth, because it dives into all other nations. It invades them, and it sticks their flag there, man. And they set up their military bases there. So they have many thrones on the left-hand side. That's why the Lord coming back to take the crown. And he's going to be classified as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, man. Right? It says, and the woman, Shalakia, and he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Right? Let me go back to it. So the seed of the beast, you got Babylon, right? But beast could be synonymous with the EU, right, and NATO, depending on the context in the book of Revelation. Because when you look this word beast up, it's not really too much on it. They give you the same, you know, as a physical beast and other beasts as well. Let me get this real fast. So in Revelation chapter 13, Shalakia, beast. Shalakia, bear with me. Right, it's the book of Revelation, chapter 20. And I want to start at, let me see what I want to start at. Let me see, bear with me. Let me just look up this word real fast. Be faster. You shall have one mind and shall give their strength and power unto the beast. Right? Now it says an animal, a wild beast, metaphor, a brute, right? You think man, savage, right? And again, you go to it, and it's the same. That 3 on, right? And that's the same as Mark 1 and 13, you know, Revelation, you know, with the beast of the earth, every kind of beast in the book of James 3 and 7. But I brought this out to make the point in Revelation, the 13th chapter. It says, and I stood up on the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the same of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was likened unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So the dragon gives power. Satan gives power. He gives you your seat, your dominion, your glory on the left-hand side. So Babylon is going to be touched right around this time. See, when you go to the book of Revelation, let me get this real fast. Matter of fact, before I jump the gun, I want to make a quick point in Revelation the 6th chapter. Salaki, what is it? Salaki, bear with me. I may want the 9th chapter. Yeah, I want the 9th chapter. Now, we know that the 9th chapter is dealing with what? The 5th angel sounding, which is the same as the veil. Now, this is a big pivotal point because this is a big star that's falling. If you dive down to Revelation chapter 9 in verse 12, one woe was passed. Now, a lot of brothers break down the woes as World War I, World War II, and World War III. That's not so, because the first woe that's passed is the 5th angel that sounded. That's that woe. How do we know that? Because it says one woe is passed, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. The 2 other woes is the 6th and the 7th vial and trumpet being blown. So this is more like a woe, like a destruction, like the stars falling down. This is a big deal, and it's falling upon all of the seat of the beast. It isn't just, a hospital of Iraqi babies getting blown up, man. It's not just, a building. When you go and look at news and World War III news, it may hit a building and they just knock out, the first top floor of it, man. It's not good enough. That's not strong enough. The Lord's making a difference when you read this into how strong this star is going to be, that the Lord has to open up a whole landmass. That's how a war is going to be in those days. So a woe again goes into what? Destruction, right? It says, one woe is past, and behold, there cometh 2 woes more hereafter. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice, right, from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the 6th angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound, right, in the great river Euphrates. So these woes is crazy. It's pivotal. Now angels is getting unloosed that's locked up in the great river Euphrates. So these woes are a big deal. Has nothing to do whatsoever with World War I and World War II. It says, and the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year to slay the 3rd part of men, right? So again, if you want any more further clarification, Salaki, the brother said in verse 11 as well. It says, and blaspheme the God of heaven. So when they're getting judged, right, by this woe, this destruction, and their seat is finally getting touched, they're going to start to blaspheme the Most High because of their pains, right? Those pains, again, is likened unto a scorpion. So they're going to feel it, but it's not going to utterly wipe them out with one bomb. You're going to drooling, blindness, slurred speech. The Lord likened again these destructions unto a scorpion sting. Now, a scorpion sting can kill you, but it's less than likely. Let me see. Can a scorpion sting kill you? Yes, you can die from a scorpion sting, but it is rare. So it rarely happens. So in the movies, people kind of real super scared about a scorpion sting. Yes, it can kill you. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to play with fire. But at the end of the day, the effects of it are really what you got to look out for. And that's going to be likened to the slow destruction and demise going into the 6th, into the 7th trumpet. That's going to blow, which is going to utterly wipe it out. And at that time, Yahweh Shai is going to be on the scene, right? Which is going to have the preeminence over that war and take down America and these other kingdoms. Right? Next question. Had a dream that I gotten on a bus. I've sat down, never my last child. I was had clothes on, but when I sat down, I was naked. My child got off the bus about 2 stops before me, but when I got off the bus, still naked. I was looking at the city from a desert. It wasn't the same as I would have about the end. I tried to get back to the city and couldn't make it back. Kind of, right. I would like to take time with this dream, man, and maybe talk it over with a brother. You can hit up the email. Probably take, just a little bit more time describing it, because I don't want anything butchered, for the interpretation that the Most High puts in brother spirits. So you want to get any clarification, just hit up the email, Watchman for Israel 77, and Most High willing, man, brothers will get back to you. Right, Shalom King, can you break down Sirach 16 and 10? Let's go to it. Sirach chapter 16, and let's start at verse number 10. It says, nor the 600,000 footmen who were gathered together in the hardness of their hearts. All right, this is talking about the men of war in Israel. You had 600, maybe at 65, something to that extent. So this is a round up number. It's not an accurate specific number, but it's round up. When you go to the book of Numbers, chapter 1, let's go to Numbers. All right. Let's go to the mighty book of Numbers, chapter 1, and let's start at verse 46. It says, even all they that were numbered, right, were 600,000 and 3,550. Who were these men? The men of war. Let's read verse 45. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers from 20 years old and upward. So these were the men that were able to go out for war. You had those that were under 20 that was not able to go out for war. So they were only numbered according to the warriors and the footmen. It says all that were able to go forth, right, to war in Israel. Let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 11. And let's start at verse 24. It says, and Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and have gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people and set them. Is that what I want? Bear with me. 21, that's what I want. It says, and Moses said, the people amongst whom I am are 600,000 footmen, and thou hast said, I will give them flesh that they may eat a whole month. So again, these were the warriors, the soldiers, those that were 20 years old and upward that were able to go out for war. So they were all, numbered through the spirit. Say dreams are only a subconscious mind working things out. I think we are living in a day when the Lord only speaks from the scriptures. Okay, is Matthew 23, 1 through 8 talking about even brothers now that teach, or is this only speaking about the men in past time? Right, again, these are beautiful questions. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 23. This is Matthew, chapter 23, and let's start at verse 1. Then then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Right, meaning what? They have the power and the ability to form and push the authority that Moses had. It says, by teaching the law. All therefore whatsoever they bid you, meaning command you, observe. And observe and do, meaning they're coming out of the seat of Moses. But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not, meaning they're nothing but hypocrites. Now you do have the physical Pharisees, but then you have men that implement that spirit to this very day, man. You got to ask yourself, who are the Pharisees? Don't just classify a camp, because you do have evil men that are in a congregation, and you do have righteous men that are in a congregation. Just because one brother gets in a scandal doesn't blemish and overtake every soul that's in that camp, because the Most High is going to judge individuals. God forbid, you were in a camp called the Men of God, and they're in London somewhere, and you're all the way in New York City, and he's doing God knows what, doing some treacherous, wicked act that you have no idea he's doing, and you're reading, praying, and fasting, and then it comes up the men of the Lord, the men of God. They're wicked, they're evil, they're the Pharisees. So you got to be careful how you cast judgment. A lot of people are quick to cast judgment, man. It's quick to, I told you so. I knew he was wicked. I hate him. Oh, that whole camp is wicked. You got to watch that spirit, man. There's the elect in a lot of these camps, man. Now, I'm not going to say the whole camp is the elect, because individuals are going to be judged after their works and their faith, right? So, don't have a mindset, not that anybody does, but to classify a whole camp as the Pharisees. A lot of people like to do that. Oh, they're the Pharisees. Well, how do you know they're the Pharisees? You have to judge that individual by this precept. It says, but not ye after their works, for they say and do not. That's the key that's going to show you who's acting and moving in that spirit in the last days. It's a lot of brothers that move in that spirit. You got to watch that, lest you be a hypocrite. Let me get this quick precept, the classic. Let's go to the mighty book of Sirach 1:29. Be not an hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. You're going to be held at a higher standard, when you say something, because men are going to expect you to live out the things that you say. You can't say everybody read today and you don't read. Everybody pray today, you don't pray. Everybody fast today, you don't fast. Exalt not thyself. And that's what the Pharisees did. They exalted themselves. They loved salutations. They loved the greetings in the utmost rooms at a feast, lest thou fall like they did. And what happened after 70 AD when you go into the history of the Pharisees, man? They scattered. What happened after 70 AD? After the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD, the Pharisees became the dominant surviving Jewish group, evolving into rabbinic Judaism. See that? That don't even make any sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. Nothing happened to them. They scattered when you go into history, right? That was a overall bad AI overview. They kind of jammed up thousands of years and just tried to make it into Judaism. See, they disappeared. If you was really about the Lord, your work would continue. Straight up, the apostles continued into death. So these men wasn't really about the Lord. They are hireling. It says, for they bind heavy burdens, which is wicked and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders. The apostle Peter even told you that he can't even keep the commandments that they're laying on people. It's hard for him to even do it. Let's get that in Acts 15 and what was that, 20, 15 and 15 and 10. It says, now therefore, why tempt ye God to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear? He said, look, we can't even bear them, man. It's hard for us to even take this yoke and bear it. And they the men of the Lord. How much more these new believers that are coming in? So that's wicked to try to put a burden on a brother you yourself wouldn't do. A real righteous man would fast 7 days and 7 nights, right? And you sitting up there, you haven't fasted in 3 weeks. You haven't fasted in 2 months. A real man of the Lord would know the whole Bible from front to back. He'll read 7 chapters a day, and then you don't even read yourself. It says, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves would not move them with one of their fingers. Hypocrites. But all their works they do for it to be seen of men. And again, you will have to check a brother's sincerity. That's what it boils down to. See, a lot of brothers that like fame in Israel, they like popularity. They like the lust of it. That's why they're in anywhere to be seen in Israel, they're right there. Anywhere it's what they got, like Hebrew Summit, he's there. He wants to be the speaker. Something going on in the clubhouse event, he's there, front row. If it's a damn controversy, he the first one there. It's not sincere, man. Certain spirit, you gotta be able to have discernment, man. The Lord didn't move like that. The Lord tried to stay away from men. He said, look, man, don't publish this in the public. Paraphrasing greatly, man. The Lord went into deserts to hide out. People's following the Lord. He wasn't sitting up there for fame of men. It says they make broad their phylacteries, they put the law on their foreheads, and enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the utmost rooms at feasts and chief seats, right, in the synagogue, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men rabbi, rabbi, right, master. But be not ye called rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. Right. So yes, you have men that move in that spirit, that's still in these last days. But you will have to have the discernment through the actions of who they are. It says, when is the do-over Passover if you miss the first one due to giving birth? Let's go to the mighty book of Numbers, chapter 9. This is Numbers chapter 9, and I'm going to start at verse 2. Let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. So if you sneeze, you had the flu, you trip, you have a sprained ankle, your dog has to go to the veterinary to get a shot, your grandmother, she was sick, somebody needs help moving, right? Whatever is going on, it doesn't matter. The Lord classifies and shows you and tells you how and why you could miss Passover in this chapter. It says, in the 14th day of this month at even, ye shall keep it in its appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof shall ye keep it. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep, right, the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So did the children of Israel. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body. So if you're defiled by a dead body of a man, that excludes you from joining yourself to the holy men. It says that they cannot keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron on that day. And those men said unto him, we are defiled by the dead body of man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of the Lord in his appointed season among the children of Israel? And Moses said unto them, stand still, and I will hear what the Lord will command concerning you. Let's see what the Lord says. Speak, Shalakia. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if any man of you, or, right, with prosperity shall be unclean by reason of dead body, or be on a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord. The 14th day of the second month at even, they shall keep it and eat it, right, with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. So sister, if you have anybody that can help you keep the Passover, most high willing, you can do all you can through the spirit, to keep the Passover. I ain't gonna put this out there, but it's a lot of things going on, man, in Israel that a lot of people really can't keep the Passover like they would. It's a lot of people locked up, a lot of people in the hospitals. It's real hard for people to try to keep these commandments, but you don't want to presumptuously just do your own thing out of a season because you will be breaking the law. The Most High does have mercy and grace, but that's what's implemented through faith. Pray that the Most High gives you an opportunity and puts it in people around you, spirit or in your spirit, to have the means to be able to keep it. Right? Let's go to the next question. It says, who is this talking about in Exodus 33, 14 and 15? Exodus 33 and 14. I'm going to start at verse 12. I'm going to start at 11. It says, the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh to his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. And Moses said unto the Lord, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. Now therefore I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, shew me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. So again, let's read that. It's the point in verse 11 and 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh to his friend, and said, turn again unto the camp. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, right? So when you go to the book of Numbers, chapter 27, let's go to Numbers, chapter 27, 15. It says, and Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, let the Lord, right, the God of all spirits, of all flesh, set man over the congregation, which may go out before them, which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, talking about for war, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And the Lord said unto Moses, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man whom is the Spirit, and lay thy hand upon him, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient, right? And says, and he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before the Lord. At his word shall they go out, and at his word shall they come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation, right? So just, it's plain, just reading it in context and just trying to understand what it's talking about in context. It says, what type of spirit should we be in during the Passover? And could you give examples of different types of offerings? Right? That's a beautiful question. What type of spirit you should be in? Right? Let's go to Mark. Let's see what spirit the Lord was in. This is the book of Mark, chapter 11 and verse number 12, right? It says, and on the morrow, when they would come from Bethany, he was hungry. Now, the Lord was hungry. Now, this is literal, but this is spiritual. The Lord being hungry spiritually is the Lord desiring your fruit. That's what this is talking about. If the Lord gets hungry, you better be able to feed him. You better be able to give him, because he's been watering you all this time, man. It's like you've been paying insurance for 3 years, and you finally get into a car accident, and you call your insurance people, and then they're speaking Chinese on the phone, or they don't even pick up the phone, or you call them, it's like and it's disconnected, man. You know how mad you would be? The Lord's been watering you. He applied you with wisdom and knowledge and understanding. He's given you a prophecy. He's given you a husband. He's giving you children. He's giving you everything to sustain yourself. And he has watered you and watered you and watered you for you to grow. And after you're grown up, you issue forth fruit. Now, when the Lord's coming, he's hungry and seeing a fig tree afar off. Now, a fig tree is likened unto a man. In the spirit, the Lord may see you afar off, having leaves. Now, the leaves represents understanding, and the fruit represents your works. Let me get that real fast in Psalms. It's Psalm chapter 1 and 3. It says, and he shall be like a tree planted, talking about a man of God that meditates on the law, by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. Hold on. Why does it say in his season? Because during the Passover is when the figs bring forth their fruit. They have 2 times they bring forth fruit. I believe in April and I believe sometime in September or October. What are the 2 times fig bring forth fruit? Let me see. It says, let's see what we got. It says first crop. This crop develops early spring. Check that out, man. So this fig is bringing forth its fruit around March and April. So when the Lord's seeing afar off, it's not just harvest. He's looking spiritually in man. See, it's your season to bring forth fruit in the Passover. When you come before the Lord, men are more punctual. Men are more likely to be on fire. Men are more likely to be spiritual, to fast more. You're likely to do more works during this time and during this season when you actually look into it through the Spirit, right? Men are more serious. They're not joking around. They're not playing all of these games. Hey, hey, Men don't got that stupid, foolish, childish vanity spirit. Men are more attuned to be serious. And it comes around March, April on last year's wood, right? Now, going back to Mark, he's seen it only had leaves. Let's go back to Psalms. Psalm. It says, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His season is spiritual because the Lord may give you time to build yourself up for duties. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Your leaf withering is not a good sign. A leaf represents life, right? Green represents life, rather. Now, if your leaf withers, you see the understanding, which is the leaf, before you see the fruit. But that brother's reading. He's gaining an understanding. That brother's, he changed his life. He's a new creature. He's brought forth life. Now, as soon as you do that, now you putting on a hair wrap as a woman. Now you putting on you see fruit after you see that bud. Lord said that'll prosper. But this man, he only had leaves. A lot of people, they don't have no word. They know they're an Israelite. They know Revelation, right? 1:14. They have all this understanding, but there's nothing to go with it. He came, if happily he might find thereon, and when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves. A lot of women, they know they got to be good wives. They know they got to cook, provide, the food for the family and take care of certain duties while men are at war or far off. In the ancient world, men will go to war and God knows when they will return. So they have to tend to the house. They have to make sure that things are clean and things that are, out of order, that are in order. So they may know all of that, but they don't do it. Vice versa. Men know they got to provide for their households and their family, but they don't do it. It says, for the time of figs was not yet. So the time of figs, again, was that appointed. So this was right before. So this was, early time. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto it, no man eat of fruit of thee hereafter forever. And his disciples heard it. So, it's a spirit to bring forth fruit during the time of the Passover, because the Lord, just like in this account, he's coming again into Jerusalem spiritually, and he's evaluating trees. And the fig tree is a very healthy tree, right? It's good for health. Benefits of eating figs. So this man is supposed to help, man. Check this out. It says support heart health, aid digestion by relieving, right, constipation, and boost bone density. So if it help your heart and your bones, this is a healthy tree. This is a tree that's good for you. So if you eat of this man, not literally, but spiritually, he could give you counsel, understanding. He supports healthy heart. Your heart is your mind. He could remove. When you look at this spiritually and not just carnally, the Lord didn't just curse a fig tree because he was starving. He had nothing else better on his mind. So you want to be that man that's able to give figs, to help the mind, to help the heart. for strengthening up bones for men to continue on in their walk with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? Oh yeah, different types of offering. I'm not sure what that means. What you mean by different types of offering? Are you mean of the law? Do you mean spiritually? I'm not sure what you physically mean by that. But you could always resort to Sirach chapter 35. Let's go to Sirach chapter 35. Now, we're not going to read this whole thing, but we're going to get 3 precepts. Let me get 4. He that keepeth the law bringeth offerings enough. So if you keep the law, you're bringing offerings already. He that taketh heed to the commandments offereth a peace offering. So you're offering up these commandments. So like these offerings right now. He that requireth the good turn offereth fine flour. Fine flour is the meat. It's the most holy. If you require the good turn, you turn back to the Lord. A lot of people, they get beat down and they give up. They get beat down, they throw in the towel. And he that giveth alms sacrificeth praise. So it's as if you're turning up and dancing like David when you give alms, man. To depart from wickedness is a thing pleasing to the Lord, and to forsake unrighteousness is propitiation. Thou shalt not appear empty before the Lord. And again, spiritually, when you appear before the Lord, it's like Passover. You know, all the males have to present themselves 3 times a year before the Lord. Abraham kinsman, how do you keep the fire going up? Right? It's a beautiful question. You know, first and foremost, personally, you know, let's go to Psalm chapter 57 and 7. Let's figure this thing out. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 57 and verse 7. My heart is fixed. This is a poetic, beautiful way of saying there's nobody else I desire. There's nothing else on this earth for me. I don't belong here. Everything vexes you. You hate it. I mean, if you really love the Lord, you'll cry for the Lord, man. You'll change for the Lord. You'll be vulnerable with the Lord, man. This is not a contest who's the most strongest in Israel, who's the brutest, and who could say Khan the loudest, and just madness, man. David, he cried out, man. Jeremiah cried out. These men's hearts were fixed, meaning they're not going to change. Oh my God, my heart is fixed. He said, you letting them know over and over and over. When your heart is fixed, you can't be swayed. So the fire is going to remain there because you love the Lord. You have to serve the Lord. If you're not serving the Lord, shame on you, man. Straight up. Shame on you. Shame on you. If you're not serving the Lord, shame on you. You can serve the Lord many ways. You don't have to be a teacher necessarily. You don't have to necessarily join the camp, but there's things you could do. You know, I would never put peer pressure and commandments of men upon brothers that are sincere. They're brothers in wheelchairs, that's locked up, hospitals, brothers that are extremely shy, brothers that's, you know, a little bit slow, and that's okay. Brothers that, you know, go through things, you know, but that doesn't change their heart and their mind wanting to be there ravished with the Lord, man. A lot of brothers may not be able to walk, all right? There's a lot of deaf, dumb, and blind right in the scriptures. I will sing and give praise. Awake up my glory, awake posturing heart. I myself will awake early. So David said, look, awake. That's what you got to tell yourself, man. You got to tell yourself awake because you get sleepy spiritually. You get tired. It's so easy to be tired in the spirit, man. And stop having a mentality that you've done enough for the day. You could never have done enough. You know, it's certain brothers they'll read. You know, I've read for the day. But when has that ever become enough? You know, I used to have this spirit on me. I battle this spirit. I'll say this, that I don't do enough. And it's not like, you know, over righteous spirit or I trying to say that. No, it's sometimes I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. It'll be a spirit, you know, that'll either vex me and like, that's all you did. Or you could have did this, you could have did that. And it make me feel like I'm spending my time of the day and other things, maybe watching YouTube, chilling, sleep, doing a pastime. You could have spent that time with the Lord, man. And it'll vex me and try to overthrow me You know, and I'm weighing it through the balance with discernment. Is this the Lord speaking or is this Satan? Because Satan will try to run you in the ground. You're not on fire. Here you are, you just fasted, you just read, you just did that. The Lord is a merciful God. He see your spirit, man. It's about your spirit. See, David said, awake up, my glory, awake, posture your heart. We should want to sing, your heart shall awake. I myself will awake early, man. I will praise thee, O Yahweh, among the people. So another thing, you got to be praising the Lord, not just in the dark. People got to see your light shine. People got to witness who you are, your change. David said, like, I'm going to praise you in front of everybody. I will sing unto thee amongst the nations, man. And everybody want to know I'm a child of God. I want to wake up and sing to you, and my heart is fixed, and it's not going nowhere in this truth. So, I mean, one of the things you could really examine, I'm not going to say do, because you could do a plethora of things, but, you know, what I may do may be different from me to you. But you want to surround yourself with men that's going to hold you accountable. And I could tell you to read this scripture, just be on fire. Just always meditate on the Lord. I mean, that's good advice, but at the end of the day, you want something that's action. You want to apply yourself and be around men of the Lord, man. Because they're going to tell you about yourself. Let you be in the hood and you come down the street wearing this, man. Let you be in the middle of the hood and you come down the street wearing this, man. They're going to jump on you. They're going to get on you. They said, man, if you don't get your, and they're going to start getting on you. They're going to start cooking you up. Because those people on the left-hand side, they're going to tell you about yourself. Boy, if you don't get your sodomite, they ain't going to say the word sodomite. They're going to say something else. Let you walk down the street looking like this, man, in the hood. Or whatever the case may be, they're going to tell you about yourself. You need that same righteousness on the right hand. You need that righteousness on the right hand side. That when somebody sees you out of order, they're going to get on you, man. Immediately. Not only are they going to get on you, but they're going to lift you up at the same time. They're going to lift you up. That's what you need. You need to be lifted up. A lot of brothers, for brothers that are by themselves, that's hard, man. You know, do something to your spirit when you let me get this quick precept. When you congregate. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 11. And verse number 13. So I'm started 14. It says, prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches coming from the Lord. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are the Lord. Love and the way of good works are from him. Error, right, and darkness had their beginning together with sinners, and evil shall wax old with them that glory therein. Right? So evil is going to wax old with people that glory in it. They lust after. Their heart is fixed on the left-hand side, man, are those things in the world. So you want to be with the Lord in a spirit of godliness, following the Lord, having your mindset that, look, I want to follow the Lord. And chiefly, like I said, gather around holy men, man. Their righteousness and the things they know is going to rub off on you. Imagine being with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You bound to learn something. You bound to walk a little bit more with integrity. You bound to want to follow in their footsteps. You bound to want to be a better you. When your standard is just looking yourself in the mirror, that ain't a good standard. You know, you got something called, righteous peer pressure. Like, damn, I don't want to be late, man. I don't want to be the last brother at camp. It put a spirit on you when you gather yourself around that wood. The Lord said, let me get this quick precept. Where no wood is, the fire goeth out. It's Proverbs 26:20. Where no wood is, and we know that man is likened unto trees. Where no wood is, the fire goeth out. So if you're by yourself, it's going to be harder for you to be on fire than it would be if you were amongst a lot of brothers or a lot of sisters. So where there are no terror barrel, right, the strife ceases. So you want to gather yourself around, holy men through the Spirit, man, as much as you can. In Matthew 8 and 11, will we see Isaac even though he was Yahushua? Right, that's what it says. Shall sit down in the kingdom with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right, let's go to it. Let's go to the mighty book of Matthew 8 and 11. It says, and I say unto you that many shall come from the east and the west and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. That's what it says. So yes, you will be able to see Isaac in the kingdom of heaven. Right? Matthew chapter 11 and verse 11. Let's go to it. It's the book of Matthew chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse number 11. It says, verily I say unto you, amongst them that are born of a woman, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Meaning, out of all man that has been born, John the Baptist is the greatest prophet. That's what they're saying. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. Now, a lot of people, they bash John the Baptist. They say he wasn't in the truth. That's not true. John the Baptist was in the truth. John the Baptist is a saint, is a man of God. God forbid any man of God would say otherwise. Let's read this again from the top. Verily I say unto you, meaning truly, that's what the word verily means. Among them that are born of a woman, all men that are born on this earth, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. That's plain. He's above all of these men that are on earth. So how is he not in the truth? Notwithstanding, nevertheless, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. What does this mean? Let's go to the mighty book of, let me see. Let me get a couple precepts. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 8. Now, when it says he that is least in the kingdom is going to be greater than he, you're going to be born into the truth with the laws of God and to you. See, John the Baptist is not immortal. He was in the flesh. He had to learn the laws of God. He had to be able to learn and teach and travel. He was falling short in this life. All men fall short. Let me get that real fast. Yahushua was the only one without spot and without blemish. So the least, meaning them that are born into the kingdom, that's least in stature, that may not have 10 cities, that may not have 3,000 slaves, 50 million slaves, or whatever the case may be, may not have that title as an officer, a prince, or whatever, or the elect, is still going to be greater, because in the kingdom, you're going to be immortal, and in the kingdom, you have the laws of God instilled into you. Not that this happened, but John the Baptist could forget things. I'm thinking of too many precepts. Salaki, I'm going to go to another precept. I forgot what I just said I was about to get. Let's just get Matthew 16. This is Matthew chapter 16 in verse 5. And when his disciples were come unto the other side, they have forgotten to take bread. You think you're going to forget things in the kingdom? You think in your immortality, immortal body, that's in the image of Yahushua, you're going to forget things. Well, what did I have? 3,000 slaves or 3,001 slaves? You be scratching your head, man. All these flakes dust, all the flake dust is popping off, and you're sitting up there, and one just sneaking away because you forgot he existed, man. Or you forgot to take bread. You think they're going to be forgetting things in the kingdom? No, they're not going to forget things in the kingdom. Your mind and your spirit is going to be joint heir. You're going to be like Yahushua. Obviously not on his level, but you're going to be as unto him in the spirit. You understand? You're going to be in his image. So in his righteousness, his glory, you're going to be likened to that. But the disciples, which are the elect, which are the 12, they forgetting things in his life. They falling short in his life. Peter denied the Lord in his life. So yeah, the least in the kingdom is going to be greater than Peter. Because in that lot at that time, you're liable to do things you're not going to do in the kingdom. So when it says that the least is not talking about a drug dealer, a thief, a murderer, a demon, a crackhead, it's better than John the Baptist. Right? Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Hebrews, chapter 8. Let's go to Hebrews, chapter 8, and let's start at verse number 8. Right? It says, for finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, right, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers, and the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded, right, them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make, right, with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. It says, I will put my laws in their mind. It's not just talking about the 144,000. All the women and children, they scratching, they trying to figure out what's going on in the kingdom, huh? They're chasing after King David in the kingdom. No, everybody in Israel is going to have the laws in their mind. And I'm going to write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. That's the point. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, because John, you understand, he had disciples, his own, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. So that's the least. The least are the children. The least are men that are, again, that aren't going to receive that lot as the elect. So you're going to have a hierarchy in the kingdom. So from the least to the greatest. Let me get one more. Let's go to 1 John chapter 2. 1 John chapter 2. And I'm going to start at 27. But the anointing which you have received of him, abideth in you. And ye need not that any man teach you, but as the same anointing teaching you of all things, and this is true and is no lie, and even as it had taught you, you shall abide in him. So it's going to come a day where no man is going to be taught anymore. And that day is not right now. I still need to be taught. You still need to be taught. Everybody on this earth needs to be taught the will of the Heavenly Father. And we learn from men and men that were before us through the Spirit. But in the kingdom, you're not going to sit up there and trying to be taught of the Lord in the synagogues, right? So it says, Shalom, what is the ultimate fate of the heathens who shall serve and minister to us in the kingdom? Do they eventually see death? Why we have eternal life? Yeah, they're going to see death. The Lord said righteousness is immortal. So if you're righteous, you're going to be immortal, right? And the heathens are not righteous, so they won't be immortal, right? So I'm going to get this quick precept, right? So like it, bear with me. Let's get the classic. Let's get the book of Isaiah. Matter of fact, let me get on Wisdom of Solomon real fast. Like the Lord said, righteousness is immortal. Those heathens, they're not righteous. So they're not going to be immortal. Straight up. It don't matter, who thinks otherwise or who gets emotional or who wants to save the heathens, bro. We're not saving no heathens, man. That's the most wicked thing you can do, is strive with your people over matters like that. It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 15. For righteousness is immortal. So bringing righteousness brings immortality. That's what this is saying. So if you're not righteous, you're not going to be able to bring forth immortality, right? Let me get this quick precept. So lock it, bro, with me. Just look it up real fast. $65 and 20. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 65. See, a lot of people break down this precept wrong, which, genders the idea that, I don't know, maybe the heathen's going to live, super long, entirely not going to die. I'm not sure. Let's go to it. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 65, and let's start at verse number 20. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not fulfilled his days, right? For the child shall die 100 years old. That's not literal. The child is not going to die 100 years. That's not literal. When you go into this, it says figuratively, I believe, in the Hebrew. I haven't touched on this in a while, but let's get it. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 65. Let's find out if these heathen are going to live forever. It says, there shall no more thence an infant of days, meaning a child that dies before its time, die in the stomach, die in the womb, get hit by a car, whatever the case may be. Nor an old man that have not fulfilled his days. Meaning a man to fulfill his days, right, is to fulfill as long as the Heavenly Father has ordained that man to be on earth. He's not going to die, right, an uncomely death. For the child shall die 100 years old, right? Let's look up 100. Salakia. Let's look up that word 100. Salakia, bear with me. Let's look up that word 100. Now this word again it's not literal to literally 100 years old. Because man is not going to die in the kingdom. Now this is Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 12. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, it's not literally a sinner doing evil 100 times. 100 is just a number of infinites. 1,000, 100. These are numbers that are infinite. It's not literal numbers when you actually going into it. The Lord said a fool, let me get this quick precept. Stripes. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 10. A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. Right. So again, you got 100 just being used as infinite. There are times in the scriptures where 100 is physical, right? But nevertheless, are you literally going to whip somebody 100 times? Who's counting at that point? It's getting outrageous. So reproof entereth more into a wise man, right, than 100 stripes into a fool, because a fool going to continue to do mischief. He going to continue to do evil. So that child that's going to die 100 years old, it's not literal. Let's look up that word, right? Die. Let's look up that word, die. Show die. So bear with me. It says to kill, have one executed. Let's see. It says muth, a primitive word root to die, literally or figuratively. Right? So it's telling you it can mean either one. So just because you see die in the scriptures does not mean that it's literal. A lot of people, they taking everything so literal when you read. Everything ain't literal. The Lord said he will cast a fire that will burn forever. Is the Lord going to be mad forever? No, it's not literal, right? So it says, and they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit it. So this is going to be our glory, most high willing, in the kingdom, right? They shall not plant and another eat, for as the days of a tree are the days of my people. And if you got ears to hear, that's the tree of life. It says, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. The work of your hands is in this life, that you may rest the seventh day. The seventh day is the kingdom. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. Right? So, yeah, in the kingdom, these heathen are going to die. Right? They're going to have to die because nothing is going to change. Being in the kingdom doesn't mean something magical happens. A kingdom just is a rulership. It's a dominion. This is Esau's kingdom. Now, just because the African, the Ethiopians, the Babylonians, just because they had their kingdom doesn't mean something magical happened, right? Or unrealistic because Cyrus II came into power. It's just the kingdom was switched. It was translated. So in this time, nothing is going to happen with them in their bodies. Nothing mysteriously magical is going to happen, but the kingdom is going to switch from Esau and it's going to go to Jacob. That's really all it. Right? Is Ezekiel 47, 6 through 12 a parable? Right, let's go to it. Go to the book of Ezekiel. Right, 47, 6 through 12. And it reads, and he said unto me, son of man. Now, when you read this, you got to start at verse 1 because it's talking about the knowledge, wisdom of the Most High flowing from his throne, which are the living waters, which is the knowledge. Let's read verse 1 and then jump down. Right? It says, after he brought me again to the door of the house, talking about in the temple, and behold, waters issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward, and from the forefront of the house, right, stood toward the east, and the waters came down from under the right side of the house at the south side of the altar. This is spiritual. Meaning out of the throne and altar of the Lord, which is Revelation chapter 22 and verse 1, are the knowledge going to be poured from on high. Let me get this quick precept. It's the book of Revelation chapter 22 and verse 1. And he shewed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God of the Lamb. Check that out. And in the midst of the streets of it, and on either side of the river, was there a tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, right, for the 12 tribes, and yielded her fruit every month, right, which is impossible. So through every season, no matter the time, no matter the season or whatever case may be, like wintertime, it's going to always yield forth fruit. You're going to always be enlightened, no matter what's going on. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Meaning they're not going to receive of the immortality of the tree, nor are they going to receive the fruit, right, in every single season, but they're going to maintain the leaves. Meaning the nations are going to have the understanding of the Lord. That's what this is saying. But they're not going to have immortality, nor are they going to have the fruit, right, that yields forth every season, right? It's like your inner seasons. But let's go back to it. Jumping down to verse number 6. It says, and he said unto me, son of man, hast thou seen this? Then he brought me and caused me to return to the brink of the river. Now, yes, this is a parable. Now, when I had returned, behold, at the brink of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. So he's seeing this, for lack of better terms, a brink of a river, and he's seeing trees on each side. through the Spirit. So this is what he's saying. It says, then said he unto me, these waters issue out toward the east. The east is Israel. So the waters of the Lord are issuing toward where? Jerusalem. That's where the knowledge goes forth. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. My name should be great amongst the Gentiles. Let's get that in Numbers chapter. Let me see. Was that 2? Numbers 2 and 3. And on the east side toward the rising of the sun. So the rising of the sun is the east. So the east, again, is going into Israel, where the sun rises. That's spiritual. It says, then saith he unto me, these waters issue toward the east, meaning the knowledge of the Lord are issuing toward Jerusalem, country, and go up down into the desert, which is spiritual because we're in the desert right now. So the knowledge of the Lord is issued throughout all of the world in diverse places. If you got ears to hear, right in the desert. And this said, and goeth into the sea. That's spiritual too. The desert is really America. This is that dry land where no water is. Let's get that in Psalms chapter 63 and verse 1. It says, O Yahweh, thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. It didn't say lands with an S. It says it's a dry and thirsty land. What land is the dry and thirsty land, man? It's America. This is the only place where you're not going to be able to get water, right? Spiritually. If anything, you're getting nothing but death and dirt, and you're going to choke, and you're going to thirst for the living waters, man. So this place is the dry and thirsty land, right? It says, and goeth into the sea. This is spiritual too, because the Lord liketh the nations unto the sea. So this water, why would it make sense for the water to go back into the water? It has to be a pearl. The sea represents the nations. You have us spread throughout the four corners of the earth. So not only does it just go to the desert, it goes to our people that are in the uttermost parts of the earth. Our people are in New Zealand. Our people are in Africa. Our people are in Mexico. Our people are in London. Our people are in South America. Our people are in North America. So it goes, these waters, they issue out toward the sea, which being brought forth into the sea, the waters shall be healed. And again, the waters are what? The nations. Let me get one quick precept. Let's get Psalms chapter 93. Psalms chapter 93 and verse 3. The floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their waves, meaning they're coming into power. They're speaking proud things. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters. So it don't matter the counsels they bring forth, man. The lies they bring about, the craftiness, the witchcraft. So none of that matters. The Lord's mightier than what you perceive of the waves of the sea. Yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. So the Lord said the waters shall be healed, right? So the Lord's going to heal us in diverse places throughout the four corners of the earth. So like you said, the verse 12. It says, and it came to pass, so like and it shall come to pass, that everything that liveth, which moveth, whatsoever the waters, the rivers shall come, shall live. So wherever that water comes, man, that's you on the highways and byways, right? And that word is going out and it hit you, you're going to live. Now, if it don't hit you, it don't touch you, it don't move you, you're going to die. And there should be a very great multitude of fish. Man is likened unto fish. Remember the Lord said, and I'm paraphrasing for sake of time, that follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. That's what the Lord told Peter. It says, because these waters shall come thither, but they shall be healed, everything that liveth, whether the river cometh. And it shall come to pass that the fishers shall stand upon it from En-gedi, from En-Geblan, and they shall be a place for spreading forth their nets. Their fish shall be according to their kind, as the fish of great sea, exceedingly many. So the Lord's bringing in the righteous. That's what this is saying. The Lord said the kingdom of heaven is likened unto, let me get this real quick. It's Matthew chapter 13 and 47. Again, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered every kind. That's the same thing in the same spirit that we're reading about. It says, verse 48, which when it was full, they drew to shore. So that they are the angels, right? The Lord through the hand, Yahweh Shem Yahushua through the hand of the angels. So the angels are going to sit down, it says, and sat down and gathered the good into vessels and the bad away. So the angels, for lack of a better term, are going to be like the men that cipher between the fish. Okay, this fish, they examine it, he's wicked. They're going to throw him away. This fish, okay, he's righteous. Looking up the fence, okay, they're going to throw him this way. It says, so shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from amongst the just. So the Lord is going to gather in these fish from this exceedingly great sea, exceedingly many. But the mire places of it and the marsh thereof shall not be healed, for they should be given to salt, right? So you got miry places. Miry is like a swamp and a pit and dust and dirt and wickedness. So if you're dwelling in those places, Lord said, look, you're not going to be healed. And by their river upon the bank, therefore on this side and on that side shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaves shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his month. We linking that up with Revelation 22, because their water they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof should be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine. Check that out, man. And again, medicine, it heals you, right? It gives you that understanding. Let's go to it. Are any of WFI locations open to the public to congregate for holy days? Right? So let's go to it. Let's go to the mighty book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. Right? So, no, we're not like other congregations that just open up Passover. We don't know who's coming in, what spirit they're in, to be eating amongst brothers that have been proven and that brothers that we held a standard to, because we do things that, I ain't going to speak about in public with the whole body. It's between us and the Most High. And sincerity, not to be, said, because that has no significance. Neither does that matter. But we make sure the body is, doing certain things. We hold calls. We have weekly things that, brothers do, that we get together and we make sure that things are in order. So for somebody else, not that that would actually happen, but, you never know, to come in and breach that, move in a different, spirit than what we're moving in, God forbid, giggling, laughing, and snickling, and he got a gym bottle, right? It's past, he got a gym bottle sticking out his pocket, man. His phone is ringing during the prayer. His brother putting hot sauce, all on the meal. He's going off. So we have to prove brothers, man. Brothers may just show up to the camp. We got to prove that brother. We don't know this brother. We don't know his name. We don't know if that's his true name. We don't know where he come from. It's going to be a lot of agents and false brethren unaware, man. It says, for some man is a friend for his own occasion and would not abide in the day of thy trouble. Man, we don't want brothers around us. Not that, you, King, are saying this. Just making the point. We don't want brothers around us that just come in just for the benefits. Two, we have a treasury in our camp. So brothers put in their hard-earned money for these venues, for decorations, for people to just come and benefit off of the labor of the church and then leave, it doesn't really make any sense. Now, if a brother does want to join the camp, we got a prospect program, and we proved that brother through the fire. And if it be the Most High, he could join. And even if he, can't join or doesn't join, that doesn't mean that he's not our brother. He still can't come out to get the word, right? Shalom, what does Isaiah 66:19 through 21 mean? Who are the escaped, bringing the Israelites as an offering, the elect or the nations? Let's go to Isaiah 66:19. Right. Isaiah chapter 66, and let's start at verse 19. Right. I'm going to start at, this whole thing is fire. Start at 17. Right. It says, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree, in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. Right. So the Lord is going to judge, right, those that are purifying themselves, right, in the gardens. The gardens are amongst the nations. Man is personified as grass, right? It says behind one tree, that's behind a man. So he's hiding in betwixt these other nations. In the midst, eating swine's flesh, doing abominations in the dark, and abomination in the mouse shall be consumed together. You're going to be destroyed. For I know their works and their thoughts, and it shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. So the Lord's going to have the whole earth appear before the Lord. It says, and I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, Paul, Lut, that draw the bow, to Tabal and Javan, to the isles afar off, that they have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory amongst the Gentiles. So the Gentiles are the other nations. The Lord said in the book of Psalms chapter 22, those that are escaped is through the vengeance and the terror of the Lord and the day of the Lord's judgment. The Lord said in Psalms chapter 22 that his name is going to have to be proclaimed amongst the Gentiles. It's 22 and 26. The meek shall eat and be satisfied. That's what the Israelites. They shall praise the Lord and seek him. Your heart shall live forever. All the ends of the world shall remember. So everybody's going to come into the understanding of the Lord, whether you like it or not, whether you got to get beat or not. You got to get choked, slapped, whipped, strung, wrapped, pulled, jacked, twisted, shooken. It says all the ends of the world shall remember. You're going to remember that ancient God, man. You're going to remember the Most High. The Lord going to rouse up that spirit and turn unto the Lord. And all the kindreds of the nations shall worship before thee. So the Lord going to cause all the earth, right, to be able to reverence him and for his glory to be proclaimed amongst the Gentiles. The Lord said in the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 14, but cursed be the deliverer, so like the deceiver, which have in his flock a male, that's off, and voweth and sacrifice unto the Lord a corrupt thing, that's wicked. For I am a great king. So the Lord is saying, saith the Lord of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen. And then when his name isn't, when you say the Lord's name, people get scared, like say Mufasa. And then all the hyenas start shaking, man. That's not what this is talking about. His name is his works. So his works is dreadful amongst the heathen, man. Look what the Lord does to China. Look what the Lord does to Taiwan, the tsunamis. Look at Hawaii, the earthquakes. Look how the Lord shake up the earth. So his name, meaning his works, are dreadful amongst all the heathen. So the heathen really despise the Lord. Now, those are the elites that do know the Lord. those low-level demons that have no understanding. Let me see. Where he at? Where he hiding at? He's just a low-level creep, a sheet wearing creep, right? And he doesn't know what's going on. And you got the elites that actually do know what's going on. So he's going to have to serve the Lord, whether he wants to or not. We're going to have to beat him in subjection. He's not going to want to serve the Lord because he actually believes in his gods. Remember, these are generations and generations of things that have been passed down over and over and over. And he's going to have to serve the living God, whether he wants to or not. Now, again, if he doesn't want to, that's when certain precepts going to have to be implemented. You can't be ashamed to cause the side of an evil servant to bleed, man. You can beat your people, man. So, like, I mean, that's in the law, but you can beat these heathen, right? You're going to make them bleed. The Lord said in the book of, let me get this quick precept. Psalm chapter 19. So, like in Proverbs chapter 19 and 29. Judgments are prepared for scorners, and stripes for the back of fools. The Lord said Esau is a fool, man. He said we were children of fools, yea, base men, in the book of Job, chapter 30 and verse 8. Right, I might, see if it's anything else. It says, Shalom, my understanding is that prior to return of Yahweh Shai, our spirits go to heaven to await judgment. Will that still be true after his return, or will wicked spirits be destroyed? Right? So all spirits are going to come with the Lord. Those spirits are going to come with the Lord in the air and be put down into their bodies so that they're the first ones resurrected. Right? There are not going to be any spirits of man that are going to be in the third heaven because they have to all receive their judgment. Every man has to receive their judgment. Right? Whether you're judged righteously according to your good works or that you're judged according to your evilness in those works. Right? This is the book of Sirach. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 16. Moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. So the judgment day is going to come and everybody has to be judged. That wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. So you're going to have the same spirits, righteous and wicked, that are going to stand before the Lord, not literally, but they're going to see the Lord in the air. They have to fulfill biblical prophecy. The Lord said all the tribes of the earth will mourn when they see the Lord in the air. Right in the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 7. Let me get this quick precept. Right. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 4 and verse 13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not. Meaning those men that, fell asleep, gave up the ghost, even as others which have no hope. So you got people that died to have no hope, and then you got those people that fell asleep, but they're going to be revived again. For if we believe that Yahweh Shai died and rose again, even so them which sleep in Yahweh Shai will God bring with him. So the Lord is going to bring those spirits with him in the air. So you're going to have all of the holy angels, right, which are 10,000 times 10,000, even thousands of thousands. And then you're going to have those spirits that are in those chambers in the third heaven. Yahweh Shai is going to bring those same spirits with him. And those spirits are going to be put back into those bodies, and they're going to be resurrected to everlasting life. And or those wicked spirits are going to be condemned, right, with everlasting judgment and contempt, or which represents the lake of fire and judgment. Right, scrolling down. And all praise to the Most High. My brothers are patient enough to get their questions answered. It says, hey, so I'm on the list to get baptized this year with GOCC, Gathering of Christ Church. Do you have an idea about how soon they will drop the bomb this year? Well, that's not up to me. That's let me get this quick precept. Only the Lord knoweth. You know, only the Lord knoweth. It's the book of Mark, chapter 12, and verse 35. Shalaki. It's not what I want. Bear with me. It says 13 and 35. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh. Right? And the master of the house is coming when them bombs drop. At even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. Lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Right? So I can't proclaim, when that time may be, but we do know this when you go to the book of Matthew, chapters 16. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 16 and 2. And he answered and said unto them, when it is even, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times? So the Lord is showing you and telling you the same way you see the sunset, the same way you can perceive certain weather, that gray cloud, you got to perceive it's coming, but no man is going to say 3, 2, 1, and then it start raining. You just look at that gray cloud, you see it's approaching, you get yourself prepared. And let's leave it right there. Matthew 19 and 18, he said unto him, which Yahweh said, thou shalt no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. And Luke 18 and 20. All right. For any more questions, we diving into it through the Spirit. What commandments asked Yahweh answered, do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not accuse any falsely. I don't understand that question, Cain. If that was even a question. How do you know if you have good fruit? How do you know if you have good fruit? Okay, that's a good question. Let's go to Matthew, chapter 7. This is Matthew chapter 7. And I'm going to start at verse number 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. So the Lord said, you shall know a man by the works he's bringing forth. Right? Meaning, you have certain men, they may feign themselves a certain way, but in actuality, they're not who they appear to be. They have a disguise on. You got to really look yourself in the mirror because, I don't know you personally. A lot of people in this live may not know you, but you have to see by the actions you're bringing forth in this truth if you truly love the Lord. So if you truly love the Lord, you'll have some works behind your faith. You can't believe in something but don't do anything about it. That's just Christianity. I mean, what are you doing in this truth? What have you done? What do you plan to do? What aren't you doing? It says, you shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth, right, good fruit. So you will have to know the type of fruit you bringing forth. Did I do this month? Have I been a good brother? Am I seeking to congregate in the last days? Am I putting forth my best effort? And if I am, what standard is that being met by? My own standard? You can't go by your own standard. Even in jobs, you have job performances. You may feel like you cook real good. You may eat and it be delicious. You may cook for your kids, your mother, your aunt, your wife, whatever. You bring it to them, it need more pepper. It need more salt. It need to be cooked a little longer. They're going to tell you the truth because the standard you meet by yourself is never going to be good enough. People got to evaluate the tree, just like Yahushua did that fig tree. So you may feel like you're bringing forth good fruit, and you just might be. But two, you want to be around righteousness. And two, if you're around a good tree, both of y'all are going to flourish. If you're around a bad tree, you're not going to bring forth any fruit. Because as you know, dead, moldy fruit is going to devour the next fruit by it. Look at this. You got to ask yourself, are you growing? And if you're not, you may want to examine the people you're around. You know, trying to figure this thing out. So all that's really going to depend on your works. Are you flourishing? These are questions you got to ask yourself. You know, or am I waxing worse in the last days? Am I falling away in the last days? All right. I am 17, approaching my second Passover, raised on digital distractions. My attention span is short and my drive fades fast. How do I stay motivated? Right? I mean, David, you know, he was distracted. The Lord said, while I suffer terrors, I am distracted. So David said he was distracted. You know, don't think that it's anything, you know, outrageous that you get distracted. I get distracted. We all get distracted. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 88 and 15. I am afflicted and ready to die. He was catching all his hail. From my youth up, while I suffer thy terrors, I am distracted. So David said, look, man, while I'm suffering all these terrors, all hell was breaking loose, somebody knocking at your door, right? Your dog's barking, somebody's trying to break in your damn back door, and all hell start breaking loose, your lights go out, you get fired, all these things start going around, and all hell start breaking loose. You start getting distracted, man. Your phone distracts you. Watching too much TV distracts you. Sometimes you just got to lock in and cut everything off. Didn't have all this in the ancient world. This is witchcraft. What am I going to do today? Am I going to play on my phone, play on my laptop, play on my tablet, watch TV, go to the mall, go driving and go wherever I want? I mean, you got to go to restaurant. It's like so much you can do that it's like you blink 3 times, it's the end of your day. You got to cut some things off, man. You got to isolate yourself. Isolating yourself is very important, man. Let me get this quick precept. All right. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 14 and 22. It says, and straightway Yahushua constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. He's sending people away, man. It's time for y'all to go. You don't want to be that man that's just partying, everybody in your house, and ain't never time to leave. It's 4 in the morning and you still the man just dancing. No, it's time to go, man. They say you don't gotta go home, but you gotta get the you know what out of here. Sometimes you need to isolate yourself, man. The Lord sent people away, not viciously and rudely and evil. Sometimes you gotta send your wife away, man. I gotta sup with the Lord, man. You gotta send your children away. It don't matter if they want to go to the park. It don't matter if they want to play the game with you, man. You can't be a people pleaser. You got to be a stern man of God. And being stern, it makes decisions. Sometimes, you know what? Maybe I can't eat dinner at the table because I got to take this little opportunity right now while I'm eating to eat as well by reading or whatever the case may be, man. You got to buckle down. It says, and when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. So he sent people away so that he could do what? So that he could focus, man. You got to look in your life what's in the way that you got to send away. Maybe need to send that phone away, man. Your phone is one of the biggest distractions that man has because it's never ending. The TV used to cut off at a certain time. Let me see. Until the 1980s, the TV stations commonly signed off at night. They used to give you the salutation. All right, thank you for watching us. We will come back tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. Good night. Right? And they play their little music or whatever the case may be. And all of the kids like, oh, while you sitting up there drinking your beer, scratching, I gotta go to work. And you go upstairs and you go to sleep. But now TV never ends. It never ends. Your eyes are like this. It never cuts off. You scrolling on Instagram, it never stops, man. And even if it do, because you only got 3 people you follow, you go to the explore page, it's endless. It never stops, man. You go on what is that? YouTube, and you go on the shorts, it never stops. Since TV stations commonly signed off at night, playing the national anthem before going back to static until the next morning. This was done to cut costs, allow maintenance on equipment, man. And because 24-hour broadcasting was not yet standard. Why do you think they made it standard, man? To distract you, to overthrow you. You got to set up a schedule or some type of task for you to do that you're not idle. The more idle you are, the more prone you are to evil and mischief and getting in things you don't need to be doing. That's the last thing you want to be getting into, just evil. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 33 and 27. Send him to labor that he be not idle. People think labor is a bad thing all the time. It's not bad to be put to work. To be put to work is a good thing sometimes. A lot of people, when they lose somebody in the family or they're going through a heartbreak or something, they clean, they get their mind off of things. Because the more you just sitting up there looking at the wall, you letting your mind get the best of you. For idleness teacheth much evil. Being idle is going to teach you evil and it's going to overthrow you. And your spirit isn't going to be as diligent as it could be. Right? Revelation 18 and 11. List goods not all from the U.S., so how could Babylon be America? Let me read that again. List goods not all from the U.S. I'm not understanding that question. I think you're saying, I could be wrong, this is a list of all of the goods and the shipments, not all from the U.S. Like the U.S. doesn't have all of these. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Right? Let me read this real fast. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver. So I think you're looking at it, I could be wrong, at a point where gold is out of the earth. But a lot of these nations, they do trade with gold. I may have gold that I accumulated from, whatever the case may be. I may have gotten it from a present. I may trade that and make merchandise of that. So that doesn't mean I found it out of the earth and, in Maryland is the place of gold. And I think you may be looking at it wrong. But the merchandise, let's look up that word merchandise. right? It says source, let me see, goods, stock, commodities, different goods and merchandise. Right, goods are things which some individuals and businesses both buy and sell. So you buy it and you sell it. So that's more trade than it being necessarily in Babylon. There are a lot of things that come into Babylon that they flip and sell to other people. You got something called Alibaba. I think that's what the name of it. They have a lot of cheap things on there. You may buy from overseas, bring it to America, and then from America, you put your twist on it, you color it, you paint it, whatever the case may be. You put your stamp or your logo on it, and you shipping it out. Salaki, you shipping it out somewhere. So they're the headquarters of a lot of trade that's done around the world. You know, so that's really what this is saying. No, not that America is just the soil of natural resources and the soil of everything. It's not what this is saying. Have the WFI camp ever come to the conclusion that a doctrine that they've learned is wrong? Is so which doctrine? No, I mean, doctrine just means teaching. And let me just pull this real fast. Let's go to Daniel chapter 12. It's a good question. It says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." So it may be times, brothers may have looked over certain things and said, well, you know what? We can add with more clarification unto this prophecy. Because I think my breakdowns maybe 4-5 years ago on certain things that I broke down again are way more polished than they was back then. Back then I may just say Egypt. Now I may know, a king in Egypt and a pharaoh, and it's more clarification and understanding. The more I break down in the years, the Most High has granted me to be in His truth, and the more I study. But as far as teaching a heresy and a doctrine of wickedness, through the spirit and power of the Most High, through His beloved Son Yahushua, I'm confident in what the Most High has bestowed into us to keep us rooted in what He's taught us, in His vineyard. So all praise to the Most High for that. It says, if a sinner turns from his ways and is sincere for a whole year, and Yahushua comes back, will he make it to the kingdom? Yes. Right? That's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33. Let me get this quick precept real fast. Let's go to the mighty book of Ezekiel, right? Chapter 33. So if you turn from your wicked ways, yes, you will get the kingdom. Doesn't matter how much wickedness you've done, whatever the case may be. All right. It says, this is verse 12. Therefore, Son of Man, say unto the children of thy people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. And nobody cares that you kept 15 Passovers. Nobody cares. That has no significance with the day of judgment. It says, as for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness. That's why the Lord said the publicans or harlots go to the kingdom before you. Neither shall the righteousness be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sinneth. So the Lord is saying, plain upon tables, if you turn from your wicked ways, the Most High is going to bless you and you're going to obtain the kingdom of heaven. If not, you're going to die to death. All right, I'm looking for the last closing questions. Okay, and that's it. All praise to the Most High. All right, if I by chance skip, which I don't think I did, Salakia, last one at the bottom. So do you think the world will end by bombs? A lot of theory of nuclear death and destruction, the end. Yes, the earth will end by nuclear bombs and destruction. Let's get Revelation 19. And I start at verse number 1. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 19, and I'm going to start at verse 1. After these is Babylon falling. We read Revelation, the 18th chapter. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven. These are the angels saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgments, right, for judging America the whore. We have judged the great whore, talking about America, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, right? Her policies getting people drunk off religion and customs, and have avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. Again, they say hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. Now it says her smoke. Now, when you see a bomb hit, I'm gonna just put bomb hits land. I'm not even gonna mention smoke. And this is all you see. When a bomb hits, and I'm not a scientist, but when a bomb hits, I would imagine the force of it hits the ground and creates a shock wave of radiation, as well as destruction hitting that landmass in a wave and a radiation. Because I went into it a while ago. Certain bombs, the radiation will break your bones. So nothing of the fire touched you, but the radiation. Like, I don't know if brothers ever been on the side of the road and then a car passed you. And it's like, and then like you feel the wave and you like this when a car passed you. Or you inside of a car and somebody speeding past you and you at a red light. That's that, and then the car go like this, that's that radiation. Right? That's that force. And the force is going to be so pivotal, it's going to break bones, break skulls. It's going to destroy men. But also that smoke is going to rise up. Lord said it shall rise forever and ever. That's how great these bombs are going to be. This is one bomb that you see, one force. But think about hundreds of thousands. 4,000 missiles, 10,000 missiles, all at one time, man. 20,000 missiles. Only the Lord knoweth. Look at this. So that's the smoke. Now we know that that's coming out of bombs, out of missiles. We know that that's talking about that. Now, a brother may say, well, no, that's the Lord. The Lord is the one that's going to do everything. It's not going to be anything that is a smoke. So like it's not anything that's going to be a missile. Now, if you got ears to hear, the Lord told you that he's going to use a missile. If you got ears to hear. Now, the scripture's not going to say missile because it wasn't no missiles back then. But if you got ears to hear, let's go to Job chapter 20. This is a missile if you got ears to hear. It's Job chapter 20 and verse number 24. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Now, the iron weapon isn't talking about a sword. These bombs are made with iron. Look at this. This is the iron weapon right here. And why is it a bow of steel? Because bows are shot. So the same way a metal is being shot, and it's going to strike him through. That's what the Lord said. Right? Look at this. I mean, look how many bombs they're making in the last days. For what? For show? What, they having a bomb, a talent show? And all the heathens come together in the dark to see who has the tallest bomb. No, these are used for war. They're putting millions and millions and billions of dollars in these things for the last shebang, like they say. The end of the show, the end of the movie is going to be with iron weapons. Look at this. Let's read that again. It's the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 24. He shall flee from the iron weapon. I mean, he's going to try to hide in underground bunkers. He's going to try to withdraw himself. And the bow of steel shall strike him through. So no matter if he hides or what, he's still going to be destroyed. Right? All right, let's get a closing precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Revelation. Chapter 3 and verse number 2. It says, be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die, for I have not found thy works perfect before God. Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast, and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come in thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. So Most High willing, my brothers, continue and sisters to read, pray, fast, be sincere, magnify the Most High, beg for mercy, and ask the Most High to increase your faith in the last days. But with that, I'm going to close out, giving all honor and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach, Malak Yahushua. Shalom.